What was the first or the most memorable moment in the beginning of the process where you were like, okay, wow, now I'm on track. Now I can see myself turning myself around, turning my marriage around. What was it? What was the skill or the clarity that you picked up being an AMFT that you can recall as being like a pivotal moment where you're like, okay, we're getting somewhere?
Oh, there's a lot to that, and I can go on and on. But the way that the program's put together in the first really 2 weeks, and the modules that are in the program, they have a lot of spiritual aspects, biblical aspects to them. And I'm like, and I didn't know that going into the program. I didn't at all. And then I saw it and started watching those modules and really taking notes and dissecting it. And then I don't think I did that all on my own. There's a lot of the spirit moving too, but that's where I knew just in the first 2 weeks of watching those modules and videos and talking with you and even other guys with Q&As and the videos on Facebook, etc. I knew for a fact just the curriculum.
There's a
Yeah.
huge element of mentorship and guidance and
Mm-hmm.
custom support and email support and answering questions, but there's the core curriculum is really vital and
Yeah.
not negotiable. And I got to say this because there are spiritual principles in the program, but it's not essentially a spiritual program to the extent that we do have sometimes an atheist or agnostic come through the program,
Right.
and they do fantastically well because it's
Mm-hmm.
not essentially a spiritual program. It's more of an identification of an inner cat, which is one of the big things. And in a couple of words, if you had to sum up to somebody who has no clue what the hell you're talking about, what happened to you when you were able to see the part of your personality that I call the inner cat part of your personality? What changed for you at that time?
Obviously, I grasped a lot more understanding on why my wife wants to divorce me when I found out, as you're referencing to, my inner cat is. But I also felt a weight lifted off my shoulders that now I know there's always been something grabbing me down. Why am I not doing this? Not just in my marriage, but in business, family, coworkers, etc. There's something dragging me down. There's something dragging me down. What is it? And it's more than just the relationship with my wife.
By the way, you said it so well. There's something dragging me down. Because I remember that was me when I went through my marriage challenges, which started just about when I got married 17 years ago and went on for a number of years till I unlocked it. There was like that feeling of being dragged down. There's something that is ruining all the rest of my effort. Something I'm doing or saying or not doing or saying, which is sabotaging me. And once I was able to see that, and we call it the inner cat, it's just a description. There's a part of my personality which is sabotaging everything else, like a weight lifted off of my shoulder because I knew I'm free. I knew that I have clarity. It's like I can now drive my car because there's no mud on my windshield. And you said another point, Isaiah, which is worth noting. When you have this part of your personality that is sabotaging your marriage, it is definitely sabotaging other critical personal or professional relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. It's the nature because you can't see yourself. You can't see what part of you someone else is seeing and getting in the way of you. What part of you is so loud that someone else can't even hear what you're trying to say because there's a part of your personality that's blocking it out. Let's say there is a part of your personality that your wife sees and believes and makes her feel that you're manipulating her or controlling her. What that part of your personality, what that will do is that will sabotage everything else. So it doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter how much you try. It doesn't matter how much you tell her you're committed to her and love her. It doesn't matter what type of dad you are, what type of provider you are. It literally won't matter because it is being weighed down, arrested, and reversed by the part of your personality that she sees, whether it's true or not, doesn't matter, but she sees, oh, he's manipulating me. So we call that the inner cat. I want to talk about another thing that you mentioned to me, and you touched on it a couple of times. You're a deeply spiritual person. You're Christian. You're religious. And you mentioned to me that being an AMFT actually brought you closer to your connection with God. And can you elaborate a little bit on that? What you mean by that?
Yeah, God works in a lot of mysterious ways that we will never ever be able to understand and grasp.
There's a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Because I'm Jewish and 90% of the guys in the program are religious Christians.
Yeah.
God definitely has a sense of humor. But go on, tell me about what happened and what do you mean by it brought you closer? Because we officially are working on the marriage, right? And we'll talk
Yeah.
about that in a minute. But let's talk about the spiritual part, your relationship with God, which is critically important for yourself and for your marriage. What happened? What changed over there?
Yeah. So grew up in a religious family. Like we went to church 3 times a week and we're very involved. And so when I left home at 18 and went on the bigger and better things as an adult, I kind of faded away from that constant relationship. Still have a relationship, but faded away from what I grew up on. Was that healthy for me? No. Looking back, no, not at all. So I didn't part ways from the church, but was distanced. And it's been several years now that God has a calling and a purpose for me as a human He created and put on earth. I've known that since I was a little kid. But have I walked that purpose over the past 15, 20 years? Not in full. And I've struggled with a lot of things because of some of the paths I went down while I was finding my adulthood.